Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astatara Sata Shishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Canto 10, Chapter 41, Text 40. Tatastu Vayaka Pritas Tayurvesham Akalpayat Vichitra Varnaishchaileyar Akalpayar Anurupataha Tatatu Vayaka Pritas Tayurvesham Akalpayat Vichitra Varnaishchaileyar Akalpayar Anurupataha. Vayaka Pritas Tayurvesham Akalpayat Vichitra Varnaishchaileyar Akalpar Anurupataha Tatastu Vayakapritas Tayor Veshamakalpayad Vichitra Varnaishchaileyar Akalpar Anurupataha Tatastu Vayakapritas. Anyone else? Tataha, then, two, moreover. Vayakaha, a weaver. Pritaha, affectionate. Tayaha, tayoho, for the two of them. Vesham, dress. Akalpayat, arranged. Vichitra, various. Varnai, with colors. Chaleyai, made of cloth. Akalpai, with ornaments. Anurupataha, suitably. Translation. Thereupon a weaver came forward, and, feeling affection for the lords, nicely adorned their attire with cloth ornaments of various colors. You can repeat. Thereupon a weaver came forward, and feeling affection for the lords, nicely adorned their attire with cloth ornaments of various colors. Purport. This is a purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that the weaver adorned the lords with cloth armlets and earrings that looked just like jewels. The word anurupataha indicates that the colors matched nicely. And I'll read the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the Vayaka is one who weaves using bamboo. He dressed Krishna and Balaram in soft silk cloth of gold color embedded with jewels and ornaments, suitable for wrestlers who, after massaging their bodies, dress them in soft cloth. And Jiva Goswami writes, having punished the wicked in order to give joy to the righteous, Krishna then showed mercy to the righteous. First, he gave mercy to the weaver. After the killing of the washerman and putting on the clothes, a weaver, showing affection, made ornaments like bracelets and earrings for the two boys out of gems, gold, and cloth of various colors brought from his house. Where did they put their jewels they were already wearing? Why did he give cloth ornaments? These ornaments were suitable, anurupataha, for his wrestling pastimes in which his limbs would be pressed, and the ornaments were suitable for each of them. And Srila Prabhupada, that one sentence that relates to this verse in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the meantime, a devotee tailor took the opportunity of service and prepared some nice clothes for the cloth. Prepared some nice clothes from the cloth for Krishna and Balaram. So we have a weaver, and Srila Prabhupada more translated as a tailor who took the cloth and made it into nice clothes for Krishna and Balaram. And in these verses with the commentaries of Jiva Goswami, he made cloth ornaments for the Lord, like cloth earrings, cloth jewelry, everything soft, so that the Lord, when he was wrestling, it would be comfortable for the Lord. So let's do our prayers. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Please give me your blessings, Maharaj, and all the Vaishnavas, that I can glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Try my best to do this service. So we just had this visualization of Krishna chopping off the head of the washerman, and now we have the contrast. So Bhagavatam is putting this beautiful contrast between the washerman and this weaver. And we can learn so much from seeing the two side by side. So here, the word that what the weaver is experiencing when he sees Krishna and Balaram the word is pritihi, affection. And if you remember, when the washerman was approached by Krishna and Balaram, what were his feelings? What were his mood? It was mentioned pride, anger. So that's one of the first differences. Another difference, as Mother Urmila was mentioning on Monday about the backstory of why the weaver had this, why Krishna chopped off his head, and the attitude of the weaver. He didn't recognize the divinity of Krishna as the Supreme Lord and the proprietor of everything. He thought, this is my things, and why should he take this? And it belongs to the king, and it's not ethical. But the washerman immediately recognized that this is Krishna, and everything I have belongs to Krishna. So whatever talents I know how to weave. So I'll make some nice little cloth jewelry for the Lord, or sew some of the cloth for his pleasure. And so he used his talents and everything he had. He even took some things from his house, as Jiva Goswami mentioned, to serve the Lord. And then third, the weaver had a mood of devotion. And of course, the washerman didn't. And not only that, the weaver went to the point of thinking beyond just, okay, let me just give to the Lord, but thinking what will be pleasurable for the Lord. He's going to be wrestling. So what can I give that will actually help or make it nice and comfortable for the Lord when he's wrestling? Because if you have jewels on your body and you're being pressed, it will be painful. So let me give something that's soft. And, like some soft armlets, some soft earrings, so it won't cause him any pain. And if we think about the washerman, as Mother Urmila said, he had more the exploitative mood. He performed penances for millions of lifetimes to see the Lord, but it was just to see the Lord just like that, but without any devotion. And as that quote from Chaitanya Bhagavat was, what it mentioned there was that Krishna becomes aggrieved when we don't have that mood of devotion, and he blocks the happiness that even if we see the Lord, the happiness won't be there. So these are some of the contrasts between the washerman and the weaver, and we're going to see more and more as Krishna's walking through Mathura, and he's reciprocating with the different residents, the different people, that he reciprocates accordingly, as Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. Yeyatam mam prapadyate tam sataiva bhajamyaham. That Krishna reciprocates according to our attitude towards him. And those who have an offensive attitude or a indifferent attitude, Krishna deals with them accordingly, but at the same time, whatever Krishna does, it's for the benefit of the person. So even the washerman, I was thinking he's actually very fortunate. He got the touch of Krishna's hand, right? And he got killed by Krishna, which is not an ordinary thing. So whatever Krishna does is beneficial, but he reciprocates according. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is a description of Nimai going through Navadvip and also reciprocating with the residents of Navadvip in a very similar way that Krishna is with Krishna and Balaram going through Mathura. One day the Lord went to the house of a weaver, and the weaver respectfully offered him obeisances. Nimai said, "Bring one nice piece of cloth," and the weaver immediately brought some cloth. The Lord then asked, "What is the price of the cloth?" The weaver replied, "Give me whatever you like." After settling the price, the Lord said, "I don't have any money right now." The weaver then said, "O Goswami, you can give it to me in 10 or 15 days. Take the cloth and happily wear it. You can pay me whenever you please." So they're so much affectionate to the Lord, so much love and devotion that they're not concerned with the prophet. They just want to do something for him. After mercifully glancing at the weaver, the Lord continued to the house of a cowherd. Mahaprabhu sat down on his veranda and began to make fun of the activities of the Brahmanas. The Lord said, "O son, bring me some milk and yogurt. Today I'm going to accept charity from your house." The cowherd men thought Nimai looked just like Cupid. They respectfully offered him a nice asan. Another said, "Don't you remember how you previously ate all the rice in my house?" They were joking, but even though they were joking, they didn't realize it, but by the grace of the transcendental goddess of learning, Saraswati, whatever they spoke was true, because in the previous lives they were in Krishna's pastimes, and Krishna had stolen their milk products and rice, as it says here. So meanwhile, Nimai simply smiled at their words. All the gopas then happily offered the Lord milk, ghee, yogurt, cream, and butter. After being satisfied by the gopas, the Lord went to the house of a perfume merchant. The merchant offered his respectful obeisances to the Lord, who said, "O brother, bring me some of your best perfume." The perfume merchant immediately brought some of his best perfume, and Sri Sachinandan inquired, "What is the price?" The merchant replied, "You know, my dear sir, is it befitting for me to take money from you? Today you apply this oil and go home. If after taking bath tomorrow the fragrance still remains, then you may pay me whatever you like." After saying this, the merchant happily applied the perfume on the body of the Lord. And in this way, he went to a florist. And the florist garlanded the Lord, and he went to different merchants and reciprocated with his beautiful glances and they were reciprocating with their love, and he was giving his affection to them. So I was just making that parallel between how Krishna and Balaram were entering into Mathura, and the same thing when Lord Chaitanya was entering into Navadvip. And so the lessons that we can learn from the weaver's attitude are, first of all, using whatever talents or abilities that we have in Krishna's service, and doing it with love and devotion. And thirdly, thinking about the comfort of the Lord. So these three things were some of the thoughts that I had about the attitude that we're seeing here in the verse, about the attitude of the weaver and how we can apply it in our life. So the weaver here is using his talents and possessions, whatever he has, to serve the Lord. As we know in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Yat karoshi yadashnashi, yad jahosi dadati, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat karushva madarpanam." Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you do, do it for Krishna's pleasure. And also we hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, "Manasa deho geho yo kichumur, arpila tuha pade nanda kishore." So whatever I have, my house, my possessions, my family, it all belongs to you anyway. So let me use it in your service. Please accept it. Now, in our life, we may come face to face with the block of false ego, which makes us hesitate to offer what we have to Krishna. One block may be, what about me? Like, if I give to Krishna, what will be left for me? Another block may be, is this good enough? Like, am I, I'm not so, what I have is not good enough compared to what other people have, or I don't feel qualified. What can I offer? And, you know, it's not good, yeah, it's not perfect enough for Krishna. And these are all, they're blocks of the false ego, because if you think about who we really are, Jiver Swarup Hoy, Nitya Krishna Das, we are servants of Krishna. And false ego is our identity, and false means it's not real. So we're identifying ourselves as this body, and I'm the controller and everything. This is mine. But if we have the mood that what I have is Krishna's, and Krishna gave it to me, so I'm just going to give it back to Krishna. And yes, it's imperfect. I'm so small. I don't have much, but I will try my best. Krishna, please accept. And that just reminds me, at Prabhupada, in one of his classes, he actually chokes up when he mentions that. Like, I think it's the story of Sanatan, where he's just offering the dal batis in the fire and giving it to Madan Mohan. And he says, if you want salt, next you're going to ask for something else. And he said, this is all I have. Please accept. And Krishna is, and Prabhupada gets choked up, because that's the mood of a Vaishnava, is humility. And just, first of all, it's acknowledging and being grateful for what we have, and realizing it's not sufficient, but that's all I have, and let me offer that for your pleasure. And children do this naturally. There was one little child who came up to me recently with their little drawing that they gave, and he was so excited, 3-year-old boy, and I couldn't even tell what the drawing was. It was just kind of looked like scribbles to me. But for him, he put so much devotion into that. He really thought about everything, and he was explaining to me. And this is the Bhagavatam, and there's Krishna, and he was like telling me the whole thing. And I was so touched by how much effort he put into that drawing, even though it was not so artistic in the sense in that way. Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers to Nrsingadev, can you imagine after Lord Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, and all the demigods are there, Brahma's there, Shiva's there, Lakshmi Devi, and all the demigods are there. And Prahlad is a little 5-year-old boy, and nobody can pacify Lord Nrsingadev, how ferocious he looks. So they send for little Prahlad. And Prahlad is standing there in front of Nrsingadev, and his words are, "How is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words. Although such persons are very qualified, being in the mode of goodness, then what is to be said about me? I'm not at all qualified." So that's his mood. But he doesn't stay there. It's not like he goes, backs up and goes, okay, I'm not doing it. I'm not qualified. He continues. One may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic yogic power. But I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra did this, and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. For the Lord does not need service from anyone. So he doesn't need my little prayers, but it's for my benefit. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. And then he concludes, therefore, although I was born in a demoniac family, I may without a doubt offer prayers to the Lord with full endeavor as far as my intelligence allows. Anyone who has been forced by ignorance to enter the mature world may be purified of material life if he offers prayers to the Lord and hears the Lord's glories. So he's giving up that doubt. He's saying, I've given up the contemplation of being unfit. The word in Sanskrit is vigata viklava. And I'm going to do this for my best ability for Krishna's pleasure. And we also see that same example in Sutta Goswami. The sages of Naimisharanya approach him. Can you give us some spiritual knowledge? We've been performing this sacrifice for thousands of years and we're not feeling any satisfaction. Can you please enlighten us? And Sutta Goswami feels very unqualified. He says, I'm born in a mixed caste family. But then he says, but I've been very fortunate. I've gotten a lot of mercy from my gurus. And so I will try to speak to my best ability, just as birds fly according to their capability in the sky. So I will try my best to speak according to my ability. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, I think he also has a similar verse, or he quotes this verse about the birds flying according to their level of ability. So the first lesson from the weaver is he knows how to weave cloth, and he did that for Krishna. And we may have different talents, different abilities, or different services that Krishna gives us, and we try to offer it to Krishna with the best of our ability for Krishna's pleasure. And it's for our benefit. Krishna doesn't need our service, but we do it because it's for our purification. And the second point is the attitude of love and devotion, the pritihi, that is so attractive. So Krishna says, as we know, patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya pranashati. He's asking for a leaf, a flower, a little water, anything that's offered with love and devotion. So Krishna's so kind. He wants just that love, not the amazing offering. And the perfect example of that is Duryodhana. He invited Krishna to dine in his, beautiful, opulent dining hall with amazing feast. And Krishna declined that. And he was happy to eat the simple food in the house of Vidura because he wanted that love and devotion. I was also thinking about the detail of how the weaver here is doing with so much affection. He's thinking ahead, okay, that Krishna will, be wrestling soon. Let me weave something that will be comfortable for the Lord. And also, it's mentioned, anurupataha indicates that the colors matched nicely. So he not even just, gave whatever he had. He actually thought, okay, what matches their clothes? So he did it very artistically, very detail-oriented. And I was thinking that's a sign also of love and devotion is thinking about the other person, what will be pleasing to that person. And of course, everything we do could be done either in a selfish attitude or in the mood of devotion. So even being detail-oriented doesn't necessarily mean that one has love and devotion. It could also be, just a kind of a fear of judgment or whatever. We might be focused on ourselves when we do some service. But if whatever we do it with that attention and with the desire to please Krishna. That is what Krishna is looking for. One time I asked my Guru Maharaj, what is better, to try to think of doing some big service for Krishna or being happy with some menial service for Krishna? And his answer was, the goal of service is to please Krishna. Therefore, we should just be willing to do whatever Krishna wants us to do. That is the meaning of surrender, to be a willing instrument for Krishna to use. So we can strive to do something for Krishna, but we must constantly remember that the purpose is to please Krishna and that he is in control. Therefore, we shouldn't be attached to our efforts. Ultimately, our desire should be to please Krishna, whether the manifestation is in some menial service or whether it is in some big service. So that's the important thing. It's not whether it's a big service or a small service. It's a matter of whether it's pleasing to Krishna. And then he went on to say that service is for our purification. Krishna doesn't need our service. At that time, Bush was the president of the United States, and he said, if you wanted to serve Bush, could you do it? He laughed. And he said, no, Krishna is such a big person. How is it possible that he needs our service? He has Srimati Radharani and all the Lakshmis serving him. So why would he need our service? But he accepts our offerings that are given in love. So that really struck me. It was exactly what I needed to hear at that time. And I was, really meditating on those instructions. So the third thing that we can learn from the weaver, not only using his talents in Krishna's service with love and affection, but also he went a step ahead thinking about the comfort of the Lord. And this reminded me of Srila Prabhupada's statement that a first-class servant, he doesn't just do what the master says, but he, even before the master asks, he thinks ahead of what will be pleasing to the master. And we live in a very self-absorbed world. We are very selfish. We think more about ourselves and others, but we may see little spurts of selfless love in this world, like somebody thinking, oh, I see that person needs some help. He's let me buy this for the person so he can, have a more easy, comfortable life or whatever. So we do see some spurts of that selfless love, but it's still tainted with some imperfections. But we can dovetail that perfectly to Krishna by trying to think what will bring pleasure to Krishna. And that needs to be guided by the spiritual master and the scriptures, because we don't always know what is the best way to please Krishna, but the pure devotees know. And that also reminds me of that word anukulyasya from that Rupa Goswami's favorable. The devotional service should be favorable. And as you mentioned, it also means following in the footsteps or of the great acharyas who know how to please Krishna. So the deity form of Krishna is the most accessible form of Krishna that we can, with our hands, with our eyes, with our senses, we can actually serve Krishna. We can put a shawl on Krishna when it's cold so that he won't feel cold, even though Krishna doesn't get cold. We can offer some nice preparations that Krishna likes, and we can think about the comfort of the deity. So that is something that's quite amazing. Krishna doesn't need it, but he's giving us an opportunity to think about his comfort in his beautiful Archa Vigraha form. And again, that has to be, of course, guided by the devotees who can guide us how to do that in the best way. Some examples of this, thinking about the comfort of the Lord. I was thinking about Sobari, and she was in the forest and Ramachandra was going to come. And she was thinking, I have these berries, but some of them are tart. So let me just give a little bite and see. If it's sweet, then I'll keep it for him. If it's not sweet, I'll throw it away. So she was thinking about the comfort of Lord Ramachandra, how he will enjoy those berries. Even though externally we wouldn't do that. That's definitely Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love for Krishna. We definitely don't want to do that when we serve the deities because we're not on that platform. But these are just inspirations about it. It can inspire us to come to a level where we're focused on Krishna more than we're focused on us. And Mother Yashoda, she was so concerned. Krishna's going to go out to the forest and on his, his feet are so soft and he's going to go out into the forest with all these thorns. Krishna, wear some shoes. It'll be more comfortable for you. And Krishna said, I'm not going to wear shoes unless you give shoes to all my cows. They're not wearing shoes. Why should I wear shoes? But this shows how Mother Yashoda and all the residents of Vrindavan were just thinking about the comfort of Krishna. And the Brahmana in his meditation offering sweet rice to the Lord, and he was thinking, sweet rice is not nice when it's too hot, right? Actually, it tastes best when it's cold. And is it ready yet to offer? Let me see if it's ready, because I want Krishna to have a nice experience when he's eating the sweet rice. So he touches the sweet rice and he burns his finger. So that is another example of focusing so much on the pleasure of the Lord. And then I was also meditating on Madhavendra Puri, how he put aside all his own discomforts. He was actually elderly at the time that Gopal told him, I'm feeling very hot. Can you bring me some chandan? It will cool my body down. So he walked all the way from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, and he was ready to walk all the way back carrying heavy loads of this chandan. And finally Gopal told him that it's okay, you can put it on Gopinath, because I'm non-different from Gopinath. There was another deity in Jagannath Puri. So Madhavendra Puri had the pujaris put that chandan on Gopinath every day. And another example I was thinking, there's so many examples in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes of the disciples or the servants of Lord Chaitanya, the devotees, who were always thinking about the comfort of the Lord. And it was interesting because there's kind of a tension with the devotees trying to give him comfort and the Lord not wanting it. It's because he's in the role of a sannyasi, and sannyasi doesn't have a luxurious life, but the devotees want to see him comfortable. So Jagadananda Pandit would bring these nice perfumes that he got from a distant place. Oh, the Lord, those will be really nice. The scent will be so pleasing to the Lord. And Lord Chaitanya said, what will a sannyasi, what will they think if a sannyasi walks by with this nice scent coming out? And Jagadananda Pandit, of course, his mood is, the what do you call that? The left wing mood, left hand mood. And he threw he said, who said I brought any perfumes? And he just threw the perfume aside. Another time, he wanted to make a nice bed for the Lord, so he got this really nice, comfortable cotton and put nice padding inside and a nice mattress with a pillow that was soft, because the Lord was exhibiting all these symptoms of ecstasy, and sometimes his body would become very, very thin in the ecstatic, one of the ecstatic symptoms. So when he would lie down, it would be painful. The devotees were thinking it must be painful for him. His body is so thin, and he's lying on this bare, straw mat, and it must be so painful for him. So he made a nice bed for the Lord. And again, the Lord is like, this is not suitable for a sannyasi. And Swarup Damodar was thinking, how can I, Jagadananda Pandit is asking me to give this to the Lord. The Lord is rejecting it. What can I do? What can I give? So he was very innovative. So he thought, the Lord is not going to accept this opulent, this nice mattress with a pillow. So he just took some banana leaves, he tore it up into pieces, he put it into some used cloth that was already, and he kind of made like a mattress, a very simple mattress that would keep the Lord a little comfortable, but it was not something that the Lord would reject. So he was very innovative in that way. And then another example is Raghava Pandit. He would go to distant places to get the best fruits for the Lord, the best coconuts, the first-class opulent things to offer to his deities. And as we know, one time he had a nice orchard in his own backyard, but he still would go 20 miles to get the best coconuts. And then he would have it brought back, clipped, cleaned, and again clipped and washed and put in cool water. Then he would offer to his deities. And one time his servant touched the ceiling before the offering, and he had those coconuts thrown out. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati says, this is not just a crazy fanatical thing of somebody suffering from cleansing mania. He says he was doing this because he really wanted, he was absorbed in thoughts of how to please the Lord. So it's not that we all have to become like that, like, obsessive, but it's the mood of love. So To summarize, the weaver has this mood, this attitude of using his talents in Krishna's service, trying to please the Lord and trying to see for the comfort of the Lord. So we can pray for that same mood. And thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvanda Aravindalayatatam Bhavatatam Samasitam Buddhasundaram Kandar Atom Vidamaniya Ishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Argani Akasa Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Vikayanti Viragatari Ananta Chimaya Sadhu Dala Vikrasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Namahum Vishnupataya Krishna Prasthaya Putale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samaniti Namine Samaniti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Kuravani Pacha Hey, Sesha, Shunyava, Deva, Sacha, De, the Torrent Day. Jaya Shri Krishna. Jana Jana Yadway Tada Tivasade Goloka Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jana Gadwaita Gagada Sivasade Goloka Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmanichananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sivasade Goloka Janana Jananda Jiatwaita Canada Sivasadi Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhunichananda Jiatwaita Gatada Sivasadi Goloka Brenda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya. Jaya Radha Goloka Radhe. Jaya Radha Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om Vishnu Paramahansa. Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON founder Acharya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shridhoidas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shitwaita Gadadha Shivasiti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kun Radhakunda Jai Jagannath Swami Jai Munamai Jai Shimani Glasi Devi Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees. All glorious. Please, Tarni. Okay, so Cheto Darpanamajanam, Baba Mahadvagni Nirapanam, Shreya Kaira Vyachandrika Vitaranam, Vijavadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Bardhanam, Pratipatam Pranam Rasvadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, Nam Nam Makari Bahuda Nivjasarva Shaktis. Tatrapita nimata smaranena kala etadrisi tavakripa bhagavan mamapi durdivami drishaniha anina nuraga trinadapi sunichena turariva sihishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniyasara hari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadishikamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Hai Tukitwaye Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Nayanam Galudashru Daraya Vadanam Gadgara Rudaya Gira Pulaka Nichitam Bapukada Tabagrahane Shate Yugaitam Nimishena Chachusha Yaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahena Me Ashli Shvapada Panashdumam Adarshanam Marmatam Karotava Yatadata Bhavadatu Lampato Mat Prananatas Tu Sevanaparaha. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon, is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shishi Shashtaka Ki Jai. Okay, so nice class, and we'd like to welcome our guests. What are your names? Shamarupa. Shamiki. It's a nice combination, Shamarupa and Shamiki. You're from what temple originally? Boston. Okay. I should have told by the accent. Boston. Yeah, yeah. So welcome. How long have you been here for? Great. So welcome. And there's Prashadam downstairs. The devotee will show you right downstairs in the door right below the stairway. Breakfast Prashadam and lunch Prashadam. Everything. So welcome to New Goloka. Thank you for coming. Okay, and the deities look very happy, dressed by their most obedient servant.